Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. This is the second in a series of summer focused videos. The first one was my most elegant summer scents, and some of those were floral, some were woody, some were fruity. The thumbnail looks like this. Please check that video out if you haven't already. Today's video, however, is going to be focused on tropical, fruity, juicy fragrances. I've got, I think it's 10, and I'd like to jump right in. You have heard me go on and on and on about this fragrance, so I'll be quick about this one, and it's the newest one from Commodity, and it's called Juice. This is the expressive version. There is a personal version that is heavier on a violet leaf note and is a little bit more green and bright and light. And then there's a deeper version of this that is more jammy. This particular fragrance is heavy on a really lovely, very ripe, very overripe, I think it says on the website, strawberry note. This sort of heavy raspberry pulp note. And I say that specifically, that is what the note is. But the reason that I say that instead of just raspberry is because raspberry can be a sort of light, fluffy note in fragrances, especially if it's accompanied by marshmallow or orris root or heliotrope or any sort of notes that lend any kind of sort of powderiness or nuttiness. The raspberry that's in here is raspberry pulp. So you want to think about mashed up raspberries and the fact that the juice sort of gets stronger when it's mashed up. There is a floral in here and then a sort of a woody base. A lot of people have compared this, interestingly enough, to Delina. And the reason is, I think there's a rhubarb note in here that probably reminds people of Delina. And then the floral in here is rose. And so those two things are probably reminiscent of Delina. Delina was difficult for me to wear. I am ready to revisit Delina finally. Miracles do happen, friends. I've avoided that fragrance, even though I like Delina Exclusive and I really love Delina La Rose. Both of those are gorgeous, but the actual Delina fragrance, the moment, the myth, the icon, the legend herself, I've just had some challenges with because the rhubarb is a little tart. In here, I love the way everything plays together. This is a little tart. It is zingy and it's super duper juicy, like deep, dark berry juicy. It's a fun, playful fragrance. It reminds me of all kinds of juices that you would enjoy in spring and summer, especially freshly squeezed juice. Hold on a minute. I'm just realizing that my background might be a little bit crooked. Can I fix that really quick? Is that okay? Okay, anyway, moderate longevity, moderate projection, smells fantastic in the air. Just a really happy, bright, fun, vibrant fragrance. Fantastic here for deep into summer. I will say someone commented that they wore this in high heat and it didn't do well for them. I haven't had that issue, but in fairness, I haven't worn this out in like 100-degree weather all day long to know. My sense is that it would do very nicely, particularly on a not super duper hot day. So if you're talking about like late 80s or high 80s, rather late 80s. What the heck am I talking about? High 80s, definitely 70s, definitely West Coast, California, like it never rains in Southern California type weather. This would be fantastic for that. I'm here in Central Virginia. It does get very sticky and very humid here in the summer. And so I might not wear this on the hottest of days, but other days that were in 80s, maybe even early 90s. I said the word early again, low 90s. Let us know if you've tried this and what your thoughts are. I'd be interested to hear if you also believe that it smells a lot like Delina. To me, it's different enough that I prefer this for now, but I do need to revisit Delina again soon, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, number one in the lineup for tropical, fun, juicy, fun summer fragrances. Then my fragrance of the day, this is kind of like the Taylor Swift of the summer. Like this fragrance is having a moment. It is the It Tropical Girl fragrance of the summer. Ellis Brooklyn, Miami Nectar. This is an eau de parfum, but I'm going to tell you that I can't even talk today. I'm going to tell you that this is maybe more eau de toilette and performance, what you would think about like as an EDT. It isn't the longest lasting. It's very sort of moderate, maybe even slightly weak, but the smell is so stankin' good that you are willing, at least I am, to reapply and reapply. This is my scent of the day. The bottle is gorgeous and reminds me of clear blue turquoise waters. I think of like that Enya song. Are you an Enya fan? If you're not, Enya, look up Enya the artist. Like if you're on Spotify, just type in Enya and like binge listen to her beautiful music. It's great study music. It's great relaxation music. It's great sort of uplifting. It's a whole vibe. But she has this song. Is it called Sail Away or is it called Caribbean Seas? I'll put it up on the screen, but it was super duper popular. I think it was in the late 80s and 90s. And I listened to it like on repeat.
The song I had in mind is actually called Orinoco Flow, which you see on the screen, but Enya also has a song called Caribbean Blue that is just as fantastic and appropriate for this segment of the video.
The whole song is about different seas, different oceans, different waterways, and it just reminds me of the vibe of that song. Summery, fresh, uplifting, vibrant, even pool water, or the most clear turquoise Caribbean blue waters that I've ever seen. The fragrance itself, it's a sort of thin coconut water note. This isn't a heavy coconut at all. Like that creme brulee, friends, from Theodoros Kalatini's. That coconut is like a thick coconut with butterscotch tones, with caramel, with toffee. That one is like thick, like thick thighs, thick thunder thigh thick. This is Skinny Girl. This is Skinny Girl Summer. Do y'all know the brand Skinny Girl? Is it called Skinny Girl wine? There's a wine called Skinny. Anyway, what am I talking about? Bethany Frankel Skinny. This is a Bethany Frankel Skinny fragrance. Thin coconut water, a beautiful, fresh, happy, vibrant pineapple, maybe even some very, very slight green touches that you wouldn't even call green, but provide this sort of boost to the fragrance. They're like boosters for the coconut water and the pineapple to shine through. There are other notes, tropical florals and white florals, and I think there's vanilla also, but I'm going to tell you what, it's mostly like this bright, happy, vibrant, the pineapple. And the pineapple is pink pineapple. I've never had pink pineapple. Does that exist in nature? Let me know. I've only ever had golden pineapple. Yeah, like Skinny Girl, skinny version of coconut water and pineapple. Just a really, really happy fragrance. I love this. I could douse myself in this. I spray this and I am like instantly just super happy. Great, great summer memories with a fragrance like this. One of the longest standing fragrances in my collection since I started my channel. Because y'all, I've been in a fragrance since I was a kid, and I've always had fragrances on a shelf somewhere. But since I started my channel, this one has survived many declutters. In fact, I've not ever looked at her with intentions of decluttering because she is beautiful. One of the sexiest, most alluring tropical fragrances. This is both floral and a little bit, what I call it fruity. It's floral and coconut. And this is Dolce Garden by Dolce & Gabbana. This cap doesn't match to me. I wish there was like a coconut on top, or I wished it, well, I guess we're just going to leave the cap alone. That said, the fragrance is absolutely gorgeous. One of the most sort of rich, decadent, tropical floral fragrances in my collection. This is both white and yellow florals. Some of the key notes are magnolia, frangipani, ylang-ylang. And it's got this nice coconut. I wouldn't call this a coconut fragrance, not for me. Some people put this in their coconut videos and claim that it is that. I don't see it as that. I feel like the coconut lends this beautiful creamy base to the fragrance that just makes it all the more seductive. Some of the base notes here are vanilla absolute, almond milk, sandalwood. This is super duper sexy. There's a little bit of citrus. More than anything, I love the combination of florals in here with the combination of the creamy coconut, with all of it. I love all of it. The citrus lends a little bit of brightness to the fragrance, and it's got that nice, alluring, creamy, woody base to it. The woodiness is not as pronounced, though, friends, as the florals and the creamy aspects of this. This is like summer sexiness in a bottle, confidence. You've got your spaghetti string sexy girl dress on, and you're going out dancing, and you spritz this on. That kind of a fragrance. Beautiful. I could see this being a great sort of tropical resort evening wear fragrance as well. If you wanted to dress up and go out to the beautiful restaurants at the resort and spritz this on, it would be delightful. Very sexy. And it's, for me, juicy and rich. It's got sort of a lot of like richness and texture to it and creaminess. Really, really good. And I will say too, very quickly, one of the more long lasting fragrances of the lineup for today. I have adored this next fragrance since first spray. This was a love on first sniff type of fragrance. I've put a lot of people onto this. I wasn't the first person to talk about it, but I believe a number of you have purchased this on my recommendation and hopefully not been disappointed. I've heard good feedback from you all. This is Leisure in Paradise from Simone Andreoli. Oh my God. Such a beautiful, luscious, rich, rock your world kind of summer fragrance. This for me is the tropical skies opening up and the sun shining down. Did I say skies? The tropical clouds partying and the summer sun shining down on you through this fragrance. The key notes in here are papaya and pineapple. That's what gives this the juicy aspects. I feel like I get more of that tropical type of papaya juice sort of deal than pineapple necessarily in this. I feel like the pineapple flavors of Miami Nectar come out more in this fragrance than the pineapple in this. This is more like papaya, even like in the passion fruity type of direction. A beautiful, soft, easygoing coconut. And vanilla. Vanilla is a key note in this fragrance in that it gives the base of this a lot of femininity, a lot of allure, some sweetness, some creamy aspects together with the coconut. It's just freaking fabulous. The one thing that isn't so fabulous about this is overall longevity. For this to be a pricey fragrance, I think this is still sitting out on retail over $200. Correct me in the comments if that pricing has changed in recent years. And you might get a half a day's worth out of this, 4-ish hours or whatever, and you'll have to reapply, but so worth it and beautiful. Now, I don't always like to talk about, more than one fragrance from a house in a video, but definitely also check out Malibu Party in the Bay from this line. Equally intoxicating and wonderful, but just a little bit different in that it focuses more on the lime and coconut notes in that one. It really is a party in a bottle, a summer party in a bottle, and that one has like nuclear longevity. This one here is another very sexy fragrance like Dolce, except Dolce Garden rather. This one is creamier. This one is a little less creamy and maybe more fruity, while this one is more floral and creamy with the coconut in the background as accompanying it. Leisure in Paradise. I haven't met too many people that don't like this fragrance. I think it hasn't worked out for maybe a person or two in comparison to maybe 30 to 40 comments that I've gotten from other people that really love this. So I think you can sample this out on Scent Split and places like that. Just look up Decant of Leisure in Paradise if you'd like to sample this first. But oh my gosh, probably one of my top picks. And if I close my eyes and smell this, it also reminds me, y'all, we got a big old thunderstorm coming through here. I hope my lights stay on while I'm filming. Back to this. This reminds me of all of the tropical smelling dolls of my childhood. Like if you bury your, little girl face in the hair of those dolls, like Strawberry Shortcake and the Blueberry doll and all of those, and give them a little bit of a tropical flair. There's something like that this fragrance reminds me of. One of my top picks for this category. A fragrance that I actually got complimented on. If you've watched my recent videos, you know the jokes about me getting my feelings hurt when people don't compliment my fragrances. This one has gotten complimented out in public, and it's Tamarindo from Memo. I mean, friends, look at the plate on this, the nameplate. It tells you what this is supposed to smell like. But look, if you are a Coco Mademoiselle lover, for me, this is Coco Mademoiselle with a tropical twist. I am not a Coco Mademoiselle lover. There's something in that fragrance that doesn't agree with me. I think it's a beautiful fragrance and I love to smell it on other people. When I wear it, there's something in that patchouli range and maybe another note that just, I don't know, they just don't sit right. This one works for me. This gives me all the beauty of Coco Mademoiselle. There is patchouli in this fragrance, and I say that because I know a number of our viewers out here are patchouli averse. I like patchouli, and I enjoy the way that it shows up in here. It gives it a lot of depth and base. I think there's also additional woodiness in the base of this fragrance. And at the top, you get these citruses and this nice pineapple. And as you get deeper into the fragrance, there are other florals and fruits. Tuberose, peach, there's even coconut, although I can't say that I pick up coconut in this fragrance, to be fair. For me, this is mostly like, it's Coco Mademoiselle with a very subtle pineapple fruity note. It's a very juicy smelling fragrance, very juicy. Like I wouldn't sniff and go, oh, it's pineapple. But if I know that pineapple is in there, then I can sort of detect that when I smell it. I think of like very juicy tropical version of Coco Mademoiselle with a very tolerable patchouli base here. Also vanilla in the base. This is a nice, rich, opulent fragrance, maybe a little bit heavy for the depth of the day, like, noonish when the sun is really high and really intense. This might be a little bit much, but early morning, later in the afternoon as the sun starts to set and as you're getting ready for dinner or a night out, this is a really sort of elegant, lovely, very mature fragrance for summer. Tamarindo. I have 5 more fragrances to go. I do want to share very quickly that I have some beautiful jewelry pieces on that I'm going to be talking about on my other channel, Essential Veronica. If you like makeup, jewelry, home stuff, hair, life reflections, coffee chat with the girls, go check out Essential Veronica. I talk about everything on there, my travel, my life, audiobooks, my health journey, everything. It's like, it's everything. Very, very chatty channel. And I'm going to be talking about some beautiful jewelry pieces that were sent to me by IDYL in freaking love, but we'll reserve that for the other channel. So go make sure that you're subscribed to that so that you don't miss that video when it posts. So the next fragrance was sent to me by Day 3 Fragrances last summer, along with another one, and this is called Bani. These fragrances are inspired by memories of the Dominican Republic, where I believe the owner is either from or has visited, or maybe both. I'm not quite sure. I forgot to look up the history, but I've enjoyed this fragrance since last summer. They also sent me, I think it's called Tacita de Café, which is, a little coffee cup. Really, really great for late summer into the early fall. We'll talk about that then. This fragrance here is characterized by some lovely fruity notes. And what I love about this one is that even though it's fruity and tropical and juicy, it also has this little bit of a dry aspect to kind of balance that out. So those two things are sort of juxtaposed, the juiciness with these dry aspects in here. Some of the key notes pointed out by the perfumer: mango, bergamot, wild orange, in the middle, magnolia, coconut, and papaya, and in the base, white musk and sugarcane. This for me is a soft wearing fragrance. And what I mean by that is it has this sort of delicate halo that it shines around you in a fragrance way of these juicy tropical notes. And there's this sort of soft greenness to this that I haven't heard other reviewers really talk about or highlight, but that I pick up. If you've ever spent time in a sugarcane field, when you think about sugarcane, you tend to think of sugar and sweetness, but there's also this just really delicate, like ever so light, thin greenness in the air from the vegetation that the sugar cane is. I mean, it is vegetation, right? With sweet aspects to it. But I like that this is soft, non-imposing. It's not an in-your-face, tropical, floral, juicy fragrance, but it does have aspects of that in a sort of more subtle, subdued way for those of you that don't want your fragrance to be super loud or scream, like maybe Dolce Garden can do, like maybe Tamarindo can do when you wear these. This is going to be a little bit more of a delicate wearing experience, but still has that sort of tropical juiciness, the little hints of mango, and this little, like I said, thin, ever so thin dusting of greenness sitting on that very light, delicate white musk base, Bani. So I dislike the velvet on the bottle of the next fragrance, but I like the color of it and I love the scent. I think it is quite beautiful. This is from Sospiro and it's Dolce Melodia. You guys, this is one of the most elegant tropical, well, maybe not quite tropical. Maybe I would just put this in the fruity floral direction and definitely juicy for summer. It's not quite as tropical as some of the other fragrances. This would not hold its own in a tropical category, but I'm just going to stick it in this category for the summer because it reminds me of juicy, beautiful floral summer moments, spring and summer moments. This really could be a year-round fragrance. Some of the keynotes here are pear, of nice, juicy, clean smelling pear, a nice sweet blackcurrant note, beautiful citrus at the top, lots of sort of orangey notes at the top and into the mid. And in the mid, you're accompanied by that amazing, lovely, sweet, clean, fresh, uplifting pear. It has other florals to, that soften this up and make this a very feminine, easygoing fragrance, very nicely wearing. And did I say elegant yet? It's a very elegant scent. And some of the base notes are vanilla, white musk, sandalwood. This is just glorious, very nicely done fragrance, easy wearing, and it hovers between being youthful and joyful and too mature. It's like right in that space of like womanly glory. I think this is fantastic and gorgeous, nicely wearing, long wearing, projecting, and just really, really pretty in the air. A fragrance well suited for the stickiest days of summer, and it still has presence and will project without being too cloying. This is from Antonio Croce, and this is called Ardente. I love these zingy grapefruit, blood orange, citrus notes in here, accompanied by other fruity notes. So it's a nice combo of that bright, uplifting, zingy citrus touch and the sweetness and the juiciness and the sort of tropical nature that fruits can lend to some fragrances. nicely playing together in here. Very unique fragrance in the way that the grapefruit appears here, in that it isn't a star player like it can be in some other fragrances, and just adds sort of a nice fresh cleanliness to this when this first opens up and as it starts to settle into the mid. And then it becomes this juicy fragrance with these nice citruses. Some tartness from a rhubarb note enters the scene, and you get vanilla and musk and woodiness and some depth in the base. Nice wearing fragrance, very unique, will not be cloying. So let me say this. A fragrance like Dolce Garden can be cloying to some people, especially younger noses. You know how really young folks are very sensitive to perfume, and they may get that sort of suffocating auntie hug smell. This may give them that. I like that about this. I think that's wonderful. This sort of never goes in that territory, Ardente. It stays on the very structured side of things and doesn't ever get overwhelming. It doesn't ever hug you too tight. You know what I mean? Like a fragrance like a Tamarindo, and Coco Mademoiselle can do that too. It can hug you too much. It can sort of suffocate you with its sophistication. This one stays on the more structured, lighter side of sophisticated, probably because of the tartness of the grapefruit and the blood orange and the rhubarb and maybe some other notes in here. But it still has some nice body yadi yadi from the base in it, from the woodiness and the musk and the vanilla, and it's gorgeous. And next, a fragrance that is no stranger to the tropical fruity scene, and you've seen in many videos, especially in the past. I don't know that folks are talking about this one as much anymore, and she is relatively newer to my collection. I would say in the last 6 months or so, I picked this one up from Tiziana Terenzi, Cassiopea. This is one that a lot of people love, a few people don't, so definitely sample beforehand. It's classic Tiziana Terenzi in the sense that it does have this sort of heavy signature musk from the line, although I would say the musk is more tolerable in here for people that are maybe not crazy about the way that it plays out in this house than it appears in some of the other classic fragrances from Tiziana Terenzi. This is largely a sweet, tropical passion fruit fragrance. So it's got this fruity aspect to it, very musky. It's got this sort of sweet vanillic aspect to it in the background. There's some nice, bright, uplifting citrus, but I would think people mostly would classify this as a passion fruit and musky fragrance. For me, it also has this level of freshness that you may not find in a lot of Tiziana Terenzi fragrances. This one is fresher than perhaps what the house is known for, with the heavy musks and all of that. I think this is so wonderful. Some people have said that this smells like shampoo, like a tropical shampoo. I guess I can get that with the freshness and the fruity aspects, but it's fruity and musky and fresh and wonderful, nicely long lasting, very highly feminine. Almost even has these like sugary aspects to it. Nicely rounded fragrance for me. I really enjoy this. And if you like a fragrance that goes on, this might be one to check out. And speaking of passion fruit, let me end with one of the heavier tropical fruity fragrances in the lineup of today. And this is from Kajal, Dahab, which I actually like more than Lamar. Lamar is the one with the pineapple notes, and that is a beautiful fragrance. It's a little masculine leaning for me. I never picked up a bottle. I did have a nice travel spray of that I used up and quite enjoyed. That one is pineapple and woods and musk, if I'm not mistaken. This one, Dahab, is very heavy on passion fruit and has a beautiful apple note that accompanies it and gives it some brightness. Some people have considered this fresh. In fact, you'll see that as one of the top accords listed or voted for rather on Fragrantica, which I find interesting. I guess this has a little bit of freshness to it. It smells like tropical bubblegum to me, like tropical gum, with this gorgeous, very sexy, sensual muskiness to it. It is heavy on the musk in a way that, like Cassiopea has musk in it, this gets even deeper on the musky side. In fact, I don't know that these two fragrances have been compared. This could be like a nighttime sexy version of Cassiopea if this is the daytime version. Has anyone ever compared these two? I don't know, but I love the bottle on this. I love that it's long lasting. I love that it has this sort of mysteriousness in depth to it that I think is alluring for other people and would be fantastic as like a date night fragrance or any occasion, like if you're going to an evening wedding in the summer, anywhere where you want to show your sort of sensual side, but not get too crazy with it. Very sexy fragrance. Anywhere where you want to show up in your highest feminine, sensual self, this would be a great choice to wear. So again, passion fruit, apple, musk, and this nice depth. I think there's patchouli and amber and some other notes that add the depth to this. But it's beautiful. It's glorious and very long lasting also. So friends, that is my lineup of 10 tropical fruity fragrances that are fantastic to pull out as we go deeper into July and into August here. And hey, if you're in the Southern Hemisphere and in the depths of the winter months and want to prepare for summer in your area, maybe think about some of these fragrances. As always, I'll have these linked down below. And if I have any discount codes for sites, I'll share those with you in the description box as well. Let me know your thoughts about these fragrances and what tropical, fruity, delicious, juicy fragrance you're most excited to wear this summer. Tell us all about it in the comments. The next video that's coming up in this summer series is going to be the seaside scent or the oceanside scents, and that'll be a fun one too, so stay tuned. Thanks for joining me today. Take care, friends. Bye.